Welcome back to the Eye of Jupiter podcast. Please, at the beginning, do not run away. My audio quality will not be up to standard today. I am having issues again, but this is going to have to be the way I fix it for the time being. I do have a little bit of a halo over top of my head today. I've been trying to adjust that as well. Maybe that's better. I think that's a little better. Today, I have on, all the way from Germany, Mr. Daniel Bechmann. He runs two podcasts. And I don't know why this is doing what it's doing right now. The podcasts are as follows: Sagenhof und Sonderbar. That's the German one, and he also has a version in English: Flying Chariots: The Rise. I've been on his podcast. I told him my stories. This is a couple months ago, so you can go over to his podcast and go ahead and check them out. Go over and do me a favor, like and subscribe to his channel as well, and you get a nice, cool German perspective on that. If you keep finding yourself coming back to the Eye of Jupiter podcast, please do me a favor, subscribe to my channel as well. You can also find me on Rumble. You can also find me on Spotify. You can also go ahead and become a member, and you get extra episodes. You get your nice self-like little background for your screen. I make that personally for you. And go over to my Facebook page, and you can go ahead and type in whatever you like. We have a cool little page over there. We have a nice little group, a little discussion, a little community, and we talk about any and everything you'd like. And yeah, join the Eye. So, without any further ado, please welcome to the Eye of Jupiter podcast, Mr. Daniel Bechmann.
Hey there, Tom. Thank you for the awesome introduction. And yes, we have a few issues with the audio, and we have a little lag. But I think we will get through it. Yeah, thank you so much for having me as a guest. As you already stated, I'm a podcaster myself.
Problems, man.
As you already stated, I'm a podcaster myself. I'm interested in all this mysterious stuff that surrounds us on a daily basis. Some things we notice, some of these things we don't. And yeah, this is basically what I do in my podcast, talking about all this awesome stuff that surrounds us.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun today. My internet seems to be, I would say for about 3 weeks, it's been a pain in the butt. I mean, it's bumped me off my phone. It's just been a nightmare. And whenever I move up out of here, I'm going to get a direct connection, get myself a landline. I have a lot of irons in the fire at the moment. But yeah, you had me on. I can't remember where we met. I think it was on some Facebook group looking for guests. I'm not quite sure. And you were so nice to invite me on, and I actually did that podcast in German. But I kept slipping up because Spanish kept sneaking itself into it. But I promise you, on this one, I won't mess up. No Spanish will mix in with my English.
Yeah. So I don't know what you want to talk about today, but a few days ago I sent you a picture, and this is a picture I took. I don't know. Can you share the picture?
Let me see if I can pull that up. I'm going to do my very best. Yeah, I'm going to do my best to share it. I have to go and I have to read. I had everything all lined up, but I had to restart the computer. Let's see. Let's go to window. Click on the window, share it, and then the Liberty. And are you still there?
I'm here.
Okay, good. Okay, the picture's uploading. There it is. Do you see it?
Not yet, but I know what's on it. So there's a little backstory to this picture, if you guys want to hear it. When I was
I know what to do. Hold on. I think I got it. Let's see. Remove. All right. Add the stage. Okay. That's me and you. Do you see that?
I can see that. Yeah.
Like the window and the window and the window.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What about that? Do you see that?
I can see that. Yeah.
I am not good at this yet. I'm going to have my friend on and explain that to me. Stop sharing. I will do it in post. I'll do it in post. I'll find a picture in post and put it on there. I still don't know how all that works. I am lacking when it comes to any type of technological skills. Anybody who follows my podcast know that is not my strength. My strength is conversation. My strength is entertainment. Yeah, I'll get there eventually. But yeah, it's an interesting photo. If you'd like to go ahead and describe it and where maybe, oh, you want to add it. You can, okay. We'll have you do it.
Yeah.
There you go.
I think it works.
Yes, it works better on your end. You go ahead and take the show, take the reins of the show, Daniel. You know what you're doing.
Yeah, no worries. So this is a picture I took when I'm going out sometimes, and I'm taking short videos of the sky when it's a little bit cloudy, and this is something that I do for a few months now, or maybe a year or so, going out, taking short videos of the sky and put them on my computer and watch them in slow-mo. And
Okay.
sometimes I notice strange things on these videos, and then I extract these screenshots and look at them. And as you can see, sometimes there's a few interesting things on these pictures, just like that here.
Right.
Here we have, it looks almost like some sort of triangle.
It kind of looks like a deformed hockey puck. That's the you can see at the top. There's also the line across the top on the right side. There seems to be something. It's a very odd picture indeed.
Yes, I don't think it's a bird. I don't think it's a plane, but I'm not sure what it is. It was on the video. It was very, very fast. I only could detect it in slow mo. I couldn't see it with my bare eyes. I had to put it in slow mo to see it, and with a little bit of fantasy, it looks like a triangle. I'd like to think it's a triangle shaped thing, because there's an interesting backstory. When I was only 16 years old, I saw, with two friends together, I saw a triangle-shaped UFO, and it had a light in the middle, and it moved very strangely in a Z pattern, like crazy. It moved very, very fast, unbelievable fast, and we watched it for a few minutes, and then we were scared and we went inside the house. And that was when I was 16. Yeah, it was 1996, and I took.
Oh, you're the same age I am. You're the same age I am. I was 16 in 96.
Yeah.
Yeah, 1980, baby.
Yeah, 1980. September 30th, 1980.
Wow, you remember the day. Oh, it's your birthday, you mean?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, of course you remember that day.
No, I don't remember that particular day, but the interesting story is, so if this thing on the picture here should be a triangle-shaped UFO, I took this picture maybe 500 meters from the place I saw the triangle-shaped UFO when I was only 16 years old. That's interesting.
Yeah, you are, I think, if I remember it, you told me, I think you said you were in the Schaffenburg. Is that correct?
No, it's Coburg.
Coburg. Where's that at exactly?
It's near Nuremberg.
Do you hear me?
Yes. I said Coburg is near
where's
Nuremberg.
exactly?
It is near Nuremberg.
Nuremberg. Okay, so you're like basically more or less in the middle, right in the middle of Germany.
Yes, so to speak. Yeah, and like I said, this picture, I happened to take this picture maybe 500 meters away from that spot. I've seen the triangle-shaped UFO in '96, and I took this picture last year. That's interesting. If it is a triangle-shaped UFO on the picture,
yes,
I saw a similar object many years later, but on the same spot. That's very interesting to me. Very, very interesting.
Is there anything? Is there any? Is there any? Because in America, a lot of these things, or a lot of these sightings, seem to be around like military bases or Huntsville, Alabama, Houston, Texas. Around NASA. Is there anything around there that we should be aware of?
No, nothing. We have a very small
Nothing.
airport, a very small airport here. Only it's very, very small. So no, but besides that, nothing. No. And I like the idea. I like the theory. Man, how can I put this in words? In essence, my theory is that I believe that many phenomena observed by people around the world have an earthly origin, and it has to do with our consciousness. It has to do with me or you, and I
Okay.
think there's a connection between the things I saw and yeah, my consciousness.
Okay, and okay, let's unpack that a little bit. To what end? What do you mean by like it's a manifestation of our consciousness? So you're looking for these things, so therefore you find them. So it's like a projection, or we're tuned in, or what do you mean?
I think it's much more complicated than that. Yeah, like I said, let's unwrap the theory a little bit. On one hand, it could be something that originates from the planet itself. Let's let's entertain the idea that the planet itself has a kind of consciousness and it's fully aware of what is being done to it, whether good or bad. This planetary consciousness can distinguish between good and bad, but
Oh,
it cannot it cannot communicate with us audibly to tell us what to do or not to do. So it has to show us in some other way what we are doing wrong. Um, of course, the planet could send us
that's interesting.
a natural disaster or something like that, but we likely wouldn't understand that in the way that is it intended. And this is where the idea of universal consciousness comes into play. Um, a collective consciousness where
Okay.
absolutely everything is interconnected. I love this idea. I like to simplify the idea that by imagining it some kind of mist that envelopes everything that exists. This mist settles on everything, and we all have it on our skin or breathe it in. It covers everything, and this mist is communicating, or rather, information.
So you're saying
No one,
like you're saying more or less if I maybe we use the terminology ether. Maybe that's what you're talking about, the ether.
something like that. Some I My idea is much more that it's something much more physical. The ether is some metaphysical thing we talk about. I'm
Ah,
talking about
ah.
something. I like the idea that it's some kind of fog that surrounds us, and it's if you go out in the fog, you'll feel it's wet on your skin, and you soak it in. Your body soaks it
Okay,
in. Yeah, and I
interesting.
like to stress the idea that this fog is some kind of information. No one can escape this information because the mist is so fine that it penetrates every pore. Um, so thus we are fed all the information that is necessary for us. When specific information needs to be passed on to someone or something, this mist is reprogrammed respective for the respective recipient and infused with the required information. That's what I'd like to think. And so people may be fed these phenomena, direct observers or those affected and possible witnesses of these phenomena.
Interesting.
And then and
Very
then they see UFOs, ghosts, or experience close encounters or abductions, where messages about our environment or interactions are often conveyed. Um, the planetary consciousness therefore contacts us in this way. This is what I believe.
so. Do you know about the missing 411? Have you heard of this phenomenon?
Yes, of course. It's also very interesting.
Right. So, do you think because most of the UFO images and footage that we get seems to be more in like forested areas when people are out taking a walk or people are out in the middle of nowhere. Do you think maybe this concept, this idea that you're portraying at the moment, is more powerful when we're away from the EMF of a city?
I think that doesn't matter. I think it doesn't matter. But I do think, though, that there are some places on this planet that are, people call it, I don't know. In German, we would say Kraftort. That means it's a very powerful place, just like Stonehenge. People say Stonehenge is a place like that, or uh, yeah,
Yeah,
Skinwalker Ranch
it's
maybe.
more prevalent. The power is more prevalent in that area. To make it look like you're saying, there's places where the power is much more intense than it is in others. But you say the phenomenon, you believe and what made you come to this theory? Why would you profess this theory? What is the thought process behind it? Where did you from all the years you've been doing the podcast, from the experiences of your guests you've had on, or the research you've been doing, or something of that nature? Where did you get this idea from, Daniel?
I think I came I came to the conclusion that something's very fishy when I hear all these. Let's stick to abduction reports. People get abducted by aliens or UFOs. Maybe people claim that they are being abducted by aliens and UFOs, I should say. And the story is almost every time the story is the same. They they've been abducted. They're laying on a table. Maybe something gets inserted or something gets extracted, or sometimes nothing special happens. Sometimes very freaky things happen. I like to talk about the Pascagoula case often. It was a very strange case where one of the guys that was taken into the craft uh, was been there was this female alien, and it had a very extra long middle finger, a very long middle finger, and it took its middle finger and put it in the throat of one of these guys. Well, a very strange practice. Why would they do that? But anyways, what I want to say is that these abduction reports, they're often similar. People get abducted, laying on a table, or laying in a white room, something like that. Somebody comes, doing some strange things that nobody understands, and it's always the same, but it's always a different species. Sometimes it's these mantis beings, it's gray aliens often. Sometimes it's these Nordics, and sometimes it's reptilians. But
I've I've heard of a lot of those things. What I've been hearing lately is that, okay, if these here's a theory that's been bouncing around on my podcast. If these beings are, say, off planet, right? It's kind of like that. What was that? I think it was Tom Cruise movie, the one where the aliens come and they come to a planet with 75% water and they can't stand water, which makes no sense. But for example, like cattle mutilations, as well as when they take like samples from the humans, what they're trying to do, these aliens that we're running into, that people were seeing with the big eyes and the small neck and the straight shoulders, that they are actually avatars. So what they're doing is that they're using these avatars to extract DNA and therefore then clone and or make some type of other creature that can then manifest itself on the planet because of the biological situation the planet is in. Viruses as well as bacteria that their planet, like when, for example, when the conquistadors came over from Europe and they came to Mesoamerica, where I am now, they killed off a large portion of the population because the bacteria and the virus that were introduced killed most of the native people. Excuse me, unlifed most of the native people here, and maybe that's what they're doing. Like they know that they won't be able to survive, so therefore they're taking these samples. Is there any maybe something to do with that? I know we're speculating, but I think it's a very interesting thing to take into account.
Yeah, the same with the cattle mutilation stuff like that. Yeah, what you said is very interesting, but you think that these are beings coming from interstellar space, from another planet, visiting Earth. Yes, I don't.
It's possible. I'm just saying this is. I'm not saying. My personal belief is I think they're actually already here. Maybe hollow Earth, maybe deep in the oceans, because this whole UAE thing, you see them drop from 30,000 feet to 100 feet above the sea level in less than a second, and then submerge themselves. I think they're already here. I think that they're already among us in one way or another. I mean, let's go ahead and make a joke. Let's look at Donald Trump. That guy's not an alien. Come on, man. It's like there's a lot of. I know. Most people in Europe are a little more liberal than we are in the States. But it's still. I'm just trying to make a rounded joke. There's people. There's people who profess that Joe Biden is not the original Joe Biden, and I've seen some good arguments for that as well. Who knows exactly what they're doing, but I don't necessarily believe that. It's just I'm trying to understand why they would do things like collect samples from us.
I think that there might be some kind of alien race visiting Earth, or has visited Earth, or is still visiting Earth. I do think so. I do think that there are a few coming from interstellar space, living on a faraway planet. I do think so, but I think it's maybe 2% of what we observe, of what people observe. I think that's the smallest part. I do think that most of the phenomena, 98%, has a different origin. I think, like I said, it has to do with our consciousness, with us. I don't know, how can I explain what I mean to make it easier to understand. I think that everything is created. It's created maybe by the planet itself. Like I said, I think our planet has consciousness, and our planet is crying for help sometimes, and I don't think it likes us. And I think it found a way to express that something is going wrong, and it creates these phenomena. And I think the planetary consciousness is interconnected with our consciousness, so we can observe these phenomena. I think that's the easiest way to put it in understandable words. Yeah, it contacts us this way. I think so. I really do think so. I really do think that the planet wants to tell us something. And this...
I'm saying, like, we are a part of the planet and therefore connected as well?
Yes, we are part of the planet. We are part of the system. But at some point in time, we stepped out of the system, of this circle. So we are the only ones on the planet. Humans are the only ones on the planet who are working against the system. If you take a closer look at nature and animals and flowers and everything on Earth, we are the only ones to, like I said, working against all this.
Yeah, but I think we're starting to wake up to it. I think there's a change afoot. I think it's been, I wouldn't say since antiquity, but I would say at least the last, 500 years, there's been that situation, say pre-industrial, even maybe as far back as agricultural, that we were that way and we were healthier. People always say, "Oh yeah, we lived to be 73." I say, "Yeah, because back then, there's the people, they lose their, they're no longer with us because when they get born, because when they're born, now we have modern medicine that helps people, carry to term the babies and things like that. But once people were alive, they were much more robust. They were more connected to the earth. They would plant their food. They would eat it. It was much more of a, like a cycle that in which we were then connected. And I think people are starting to move their way back to that because they see, things like margarine, for example, is one molecule away from being plastic. And they go, well, that's not what I want anymore. I want to eat some animal fats. I want to eat out of my garden. I want to buy more local. And I think we're starting to connect back to it. So maybe it's either a signal from the planet saying, hey, wake up, or we are then reconnecting in things of the past, because, there's been a lot of if you look at the, people's traditions, like say either in Mayan or in Aztecian or even in, in Europe and things like that, and especially even in Egypt, you'll see like these little UFO type patterns in the hieroglyphs. And it's been a part of us for a very long time. It's just now in this internet age, we're able to share it more. So people are seeing it more often. We have phones in our hands, and, like you said, you'd have to slow it down to see it. So I think maybe it's a little bit, that's an interesting way of looking at it, just to try to kind of push the idea along in which you are professing.
Let me ask you two questions. I already talked about that we have thousands of abduction stories, people seeing UFOs, this and that. Why are these stories often very similar, but the actors are always different? So you have the same scenario. Someone gets abducted, and like I said, laying on a chair in a white room, something like that. But one time it's a reptilian alien being, one time it's a Nordic, and then it's a gray, and then it's a mantis being. Do you really think that we have, I don't know, 300, 500 alien species visiting Earth, and every single one coming from a different place of the universe, of the interstellar space, and everyone has the same agenda? I do not think so.
So you're saying that they're maybe manifesting something? So when they see these things, and it's so, or the aliens are projecting something into your mind, or what we call alien is projecting something into their mind, so that it's possible that it's the same race, say it's the Nordics, for example, that are doing this, and they're just trying to project fear. Or are you saying it's military? What are you trying to say? I can't really answer the question without making you answer.
Yeah. Here comes question number two. What do you think about the idea that we are the trigger of these phenomena? These phenomena are maybe deeply rooted in our consciousness, and for some reason we create these things ourselves without actively noticing or wanting it.
I believe the power of the mind is much more than we'll ever be able to either understand or explain. But we are not the only animals on this planet with a prefrontal cortex that is extremely large. I mean, just dolphins alone have a brain capacity bigger than ours. So maybe we don't understand them, and dolphins are seeing aliens too. I don't know. It's just, I don't know. We are like a hive mind in which we communicate with one another. We are aware of our existence. We are aware of our mortality. I don't know if that makes us in any way different, other than maybe if you wanted to add the idea of panspermia or something of that nature. But why is it only happening? Why is it happening to us? I don't know. We don't know what a dog sees. We don't know what these animals see. Maybe they have a deeper connection, and that's why they are the way they are. I mean, if you talk to anyone with Bigfoot, the people will see Bigfoot, and it's always connected to a UFO, and seems to always be connected to some type of paranormal activity, whether it be an orb and I heard of a story where there was a glowing, ball orb, the size of I think a beach ball or something, floating out of the forest. Got really close to the dude, within, I don't know, a meter and a half. His friend shined a flashlight on him. That's 2.5, 3 feet for my American listeners. And they shine a light on it, and it turns into a possum. His shadow, and then just kind of ran away. So it's a phenomenon in which we are all trying to figure it out. So like it's really hard to kind of pin it down, because I also think that humans want that. You know, we like black or white, yes or no, up or down, you know, winter, summer. We like those kind of ideas, which doesn't always fit into what we're seeing now. I think I was talking to my friend the other day. It might have even been on one of my lives. You know, we were the explorers of this planet, you know what I mean, when it came to actual physical 3D land and water. And now that it all seems to be found, now we're exploring something else. It's in our forests, it's in our backyards, it's in our houses. So it's hard to pin that down. And shows like yours and myself, we're trying to figure all this out. You know what I mean?
That's interesting. I do think that most of these phenomena are some kind of language that we're not able to, to understand. We cannot understand
Wow,
that.
dude.
Yeah.
How long have you been doing your podcast for?
I think it's 5 years now. Yeah, going on to 5 years.
So how often do you put out a show?
I upload almost nowadays. I upload daily, but
Wow.
those are short videos. I am reading scripts, uploading short videos of different topics. But interviews, we do interviews on Fridays, and a live show on Sundays. Yeah,
So
and
you're pumping out 2 a week for more or less 5 years. So
yes,
the reason I ask you is because you accumulate these stories, and this seems to be where this information, um, these experiences, these encounters, these people are having in your mind as you put them together and try to find a through line. You are coming to this concept or this idea that it's all consciousness all coming together at one time, and we are then projecting this more or less into the sky. Because I've also heard that like 3 people will be standing there, 2 will see it, and 1 won't. They're like, it's right there, and they'll be like, no, I don't see that. So you're thinking like, because I've heard of that too. People will say you will be able to see what it is that you're already ready to see. You know what I mean? Someone will be in a room and see an apparition in the corner, and the next person won't. That's an interesting thing to me as well. So maybe that's like, if you're ready for it, or even like Bigfoot, like I don't think if they want to be seen that you won't see them. I think it's like they know, or like you're saying, dude, this is a very, very good idea. I'm thoroughly enjoying it.
I think you can take Bigfoot and put it right into this theory with the other phenomena. And I think these phenomena are basically going to a foreign land, needing a very important answer to a question you've got to find a way or something like that, calling a foreigner, asking him the question, he understands you, but you don't understand him. He's giving you the answer, but you can't understand what he's saying.
Interesting.
So,
What do you think the answer is?
I don't know, man.
That's
I don't
why we're
know.
here. That's what
Right
we're
here.
here for. Is there, while we're on the topic, is there any, I mean, I hear Bigfoot, of course, the States, Canada, and there's like different, there's the Yeti, there's the wild man, there's many, in different parts of the world. Is there any of that in Germany? Maybe Schwarzwald or something like that, or maybe towards Hof, out towards the, you guys don't have any bears there anymore. I remember it was 10, 20 years ago, a bear entered Bayern and everyone lost their damn mind. I don't know how long, if you remember that, there's the Politische Bär and all this stuff, and people were going crazy.
Yeah.
Do you hear of that at all in Germany? Like Bigfoot or Dogman or any of these like really insane cryptids that we're having over here?
Not anymore. There are ancient stories of Tatzelwurm. It's a creature, half man, half cat, half dragon. Maybe it's very ancient. Yeah, and it's in the Alps. It's a story from the Alps, and this Tatzelwurm. It's not that it wasn't that big, or they say it wasn't that big, and it attacked hikers or people that walked around there and tried to kill them. But besides that, I really don't think we don't have Bigfoot, or we don't have Nessie. We don't have stuff like that over here. No, we don't have a Mothman or a Dogman. We don't have that here. We have the werewolf, of course. In Europe, there's the werewolf. Yeah.
Yeah. That's interesting. That's so interesting to me because we know that this side of the earth is much more of a religious side of the earth, compared to Europe. Say, for example, Europe is maybe, I don't know, 50% believers, 50% not believers. At least in Germany, maybe in France, Italy. No, Italy is very very strong, and the consciousness in Germany is much more. The German people are much more. Yes, it is. No, it's not. And where I think Americans, because of their belief systems, are much more possibly in tune with that. Not to mention maybe the American military and all the black ops programs, and who knows what they're creating in these labs. I think there's many type of dogmen. There's like the ones that maybe you're talking about that manifest through consciousness, or manifest through your own mind, or are a natural phenomenon. But there's also ones I think that the military creates. There's also the UFO. I've talked to I can't think of her name right now. She's in Australia. She's I had her on about a year ago, and she was saying that there's the UFO ones where they're either off planet or within the planet, but there's also the ones that are completely military run, where it's scary. It seems like you're in a white room, but it also feels like you're underground, and they're much more of a frightening version of it. It's just such an interesting thing that in Europe, of course, werewolf is synonymous with Europe for sure, but over here there's so much more. I mean, even here in Mexico, dude, there's a lot of stuff going on, a lot of witchcraft. I mean, isn't because I've been to like Freizeitparken, all the amusement parks in Germany, and there's always a little ride that you can get on with the kids, and they have the Hexen, and you have like trolls and elves and the mushrooms and the little chest of gold, and there's always like, is that just like antiquity, and Germans just go, no, we're going to the BMW factory today, and we're not thinking about that, or I got to go on the Autobahn. Is it like just pushed out because of modern civilization, or is it because it's just part of the culture of Germany? I guess I'm asking. There's a lot of questions in there.
I think it's a cultural thing. And I don't think that a lot of people here in Germany really do believe in witches. And there was back then. They did, of course, superstition stuff. We can talk about that later. People used to believe in that a lot. But nowadays, I think here in Germany, people, if you'd ask me how many people believe that there are witches and UFOs and Bigfoots and stuff like that, in Germany, I'd say maybe 20% out of 100%. It's not much. I'd say it's not a lot of people. And I think
I would say that's a high number. I would say it's more like 10.
Yeah, but I think over there where you at, or in the States, people are much more open to all these topics. And there I see a connection to the theory. So people are much more open to all these things, and therefore maybe they experience a lot more than we do over here.
Okay. So what is your channel about then? If only 10% of the population is kind of really like, experiencing this, or at least it might even be that they're not willing to come forward with it. That's very possible as well. I mean, do you have problems getting guests, or is it more like, or do you do something different than say other podcasts of this nature?
No, we don't have problems getting guests, since we have a lot of book authors on these topics, but we do have experiences too. Sometimes they're a little bit shy coming forward, but yeah, I get tons of emails and WhatsApp messages from people that say, I experienced this and that. I have a very crazy story, but I need to tell you guys my story, but I don't want you to talk about my story, and I don't want to show my face, and I don't want to say my name, and I don't want you to put the story on your podcast. People are very
Du
scared
wollen
of.
es nicht aufnehmen werden, yeah. They don't want it to
Yeah,
be recorded, yes.
yeah. They are very, yeah.
But
They're
I think,
very
yeah,
scared
it's
of
probably going to
being.
open up, though.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
And
Sorry, there's a lag.
no problem. I can tell you a story that fits great into the theory I've talked about a moment ago. There was this young guy calling us, and we did a podcast with him actually. And he told us that he experiences stuff like that from age 4 on, since he was 4 years, and now I think it's in his early 30s. So it's still ongoing. But when he was 4, his parents told him to bring the garbage outside into the trash can, and so he did. And when he was standing in front of the trash can, he looked into this. He looked into the direction of the trash can, and he saw Santa Claus standing beside the trash can, and Santa Claus was pointing into the
Wow.
sky. That's what he told us. It sounds funny. It sounds funny at first, but it gets a little bit more serious towards the end of the story. Santa Claus was pointing at the sky, and I was smiling already. I was smirking a little bit when he told me that. And this this 4-year-old guy looked at the sky where Santa pointed, and he saw some kind of orbs or light balls in the sky. It was one, and then it separated, and then it was three, and then it moved and became one again. It was a very strange phenomena, and then they disappeared. So he went back inside, and from that day on, he experienced stuff on a regular basis. Sometimes at night, he was woken by, and he gets funny again. One night he woke up. He was sleeping at his grandparents' bed. He saw penguins standing around his bed, like 6 or 7 penguins.
He's
Yeah,
penguins. Okay. Mhm.
penguins. Yeah. He said like a meter in height or something like that. I don't know in inches and feet, but yeah,
No, no,
it
no.
was
A meter is like 3 feet. A meter is about 3 feet.
okay. So he saw 3 feet uh, uh, big penguins standing around his bed, staring at him, and their eyes were black. And later, when he was getting older, and these phenomena occurred, it wasn't penguins anymore. The penguins changed into gray aliens. So then it was gray aliens. Suddenly it was gray aliens. But when he was a kid, these guys standing around his bed, it was somebody he said it was penguins, and then it was some other mythical, sometimes animals, just like from a Disney movie or something. It was always something like that. And yeah, later when he was older, when he was getting older, it was
Right.
always aliens or gray aliens and stuff like that. So it was more serious when he got older. And it has to do with I think it has to do with his consciousness. Whether it has to do with his consciousness or it was really aliens that presented to him as something he wasn't scared of. He wouldn't be scared of, you know?
I've heard of that phenomenon before, where like it kind of progresses into something different, where it progresses
Yeah.
into something more adult once you get to a certain age, and it's also a thing that I've heard too. It's like they call it being tagged. It's like once it happens to you, then it happens over and over again. And then there's people who never have any experience like that, who think that, people like myself who've had an experience, who think we're crazy, or someone like that who's seeing penguins around his bed, which I think I haven't heard that one quite yet, but I definitely believe him. I've heard other things just as crazy in whatever a year I've been doing this. So yeah, dude, that's a pretty interesting story. So that kind of supports your argument that you're presenting.
Yeah, it does. And if you haven't already, you should talk to this guy. He's called Michael Cameron from the UK, and he's also a lifelong experiencer. He, yeah,
Okay.
he would be. He would be great for your show.
Cameron,
And
you send me the information, or because I'm always looking for someone to talk to. You know what I mean? I'm always looking for this. You guys can come on over and talk to me. Go on over to talk to Daniel. But one more time, I'm gonna plug your show. It's called Chariots. What's it called again? Chariots Fire. What's it called? Chariots of Fire.
It's called Flying Chariots: The Rise.
Flying Chariots: The Rise. Exactly. And Daniel's always got. He's it's a cool channel. Go over and check it out. You're over the 1,000 sub mark by now, aren't you, on that channel too?
The German channel has 11,000 followers, and the Flying Chariots has almost 2,000 now. Yeah.
Okay. All right, dude. So you've been doing this for quite a while, and when I first seen you, your hair was not different. It's all slicked back now.
Yeah, it is.
You're not doing you're not a Mason anymore, are you? Maura, you're not that anymore, are you?
I am. Yeah.
I started doing it myself. That's a hard job, dude. So I much prefer talking to people about their experiences. This is So Michael, would you say his name was Michael Cameron?
Michael Cameron, yeah, from the UK.
Yeah, send me his information, and I would love to have one. Absolutely. I can send you. I think I offered you some people. Did you? I have a few more that would love to talk to you. I have quite a few connections over here, so we can help grow the English side of it, because I think more people in America, Australia, England are much more perceptive, because you have to understand how many people speak German in the world. 150 million, something like this.
Yeah, I'm guessing
Germany's
so, yeah.
80 something, and you have parts of Austria, which is like, I think, 30 million. I can't remember how many. So if you add that, parts of Luxembourg, parts of Switzerland, some people in the Netherlands understand it. But you can grow if you get to the English side, dude. With me, you're going to reach a lot. I'm trying to get into the Spanish market, because that's also a huge one. I'm going to start going around interviewing people about their experiences, because here, dude, witches, and a thing called alushes. Have you heard of those?
I think I have. Maybe, yeah, if you want to explain it to me, it sounds interesting.
Yeah, alushes are. Do you know what a homunculus is? A homunculus is it's a it's like you create this being, and so I've heard so many stories of this. It's a Mayan thing. So it's a cherub, so like a cherub type being. So it's kind of like a Cupid. So they got like a bulbous, stomach, and they're naked, and they got their fannies stick out the backside, and these things. They're more brown skinned because of the Mayans, and they're between, I don't know, like say 70 centimeters to about a meter tall. So 2 feet to 3 feet tall, 2.5, 3 feet tall, and they are created after 7 days of like mud and blood and praying. And corn, they like give it corn and the acid to protect their property. And here in this city, there's people who have seen them. There's people who, when they run across them, they get a fever. Sometimes they even, they're not with us anymore after that. There's a lot of that involved. And I've had weird experiences out of my ranch with lights and voices that I've heard out there too. There's so many, there's this very specific witch here called the Ishtabai, that's like presents herself as a beautiful woman and wants to be with the guy, and then they turn around to see her again, and then she turns into like a hag, with one horse leg and one chicken leg. There's a lot of that around here, dude. A lot of that here, and that's what I'm planning to do, is to go out, speak with the people, because my Spanish is getting there. I'm not quite as good as I was in German. My German's slipping because I haven't been there in a while. And then just kind of subtitle it and kind of do that as well. So, I would love for you to come over to this side of the world and speak to people who are having these experiences. And I would love to give you some names too, for sure.
Yeah, thank you. I would love to talk a few of these people, and interesting with the homunculus and the what did you call it? The lag? No, what did you call it?
Oh, the Alushes. Alushes and the Ishtabai. Yeah, Alushes. Alluxes. I think that's how you spell it, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, maybe they were
Yeah,
also created by the consciousness of the people. Who knows?
yeah, but the thing is, okay, for example, this is where I'm having issues with it, is because I didn't know anything about that coming to Mexico. I don't know anything about these things. You know what I mean? They also have it's like a skinwalker here, but it's a different name for it. It's escaping me. And there's also small ones called duendes, and maybe that's there's smaller ones and duendes. I don't know if that's the big ones or the small ones, but like the little people. A woman was telling me a story where they cut the brake line and this person died, and they no longer exist, and then they showed up in the person's hospital when they woke up and like told them like, yeah, we know we did that for you because da 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 da. There's a lot of stories here. It's like an untapped thing, and it's just there's so many. I would just think that Germany, because maybe it's just something it's more in antiquity. It's because it's such a I've been in the forest. It's always like rainy and misty, and there's a lot of moss and pine trees, and I've never experienced anything out there. You know what I mean? Like of that nature. And I've always was in the forest. I was always in the forest in Germany because it's so peaceful out there. It's clean. There's a lot of walk paths. You can ride your bikes. There's always like Biergarten, and there's places you can go eat, and it's a very friendly environment. But I've never run across anyone. I mean, I've heard someone told me that their father fought like a demon in his house, and when because he came into the house and he seen there was dishes all over the place. Like for example, Polternacht. Where does that come from?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm a big fan of superstition.
Oh,
Here
you
in
think
Germany,
it's superstition?
yeah, I think it's superstition. Yeah, I'm a victim of superstition myself. I'm very cautious. I'm a builder just like you, and I'm very cautious. At work, we have some superstitions surrounding work,
Oh,
like
really?
like the superstition with the ladder. Don't go if there's a
Go under the
ladder.
ladder?
Yeah, don't go on the ladder.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, there's a lot of that. But dude, the Mexicans don't have those superstitions. They don't give a flying F, dude. Here's the thing here. They drink at work. They start work at 7, they'll work till 9, they stop, they have their breakfast, they all sit around, they make a little table with the blocks and bricks, and they bring out their tacos and turn on their music, and they just start talking. They're very loud, and then about 1 o'clock in the afternoon, they take another break. But before that, they go and get their 40-ounce bottles of alcohol, of their beer, and they drink from about 1 till 4. So, and that's every day. And they don't give a crap. Dude, I've seen the ladders I've seen here, you've never seen here. The electrical running, you'll never see anything like it. Like, okay, they're all the same color. Which one's ground? Which one's negative? No one knows. You have to test each one. And don't touch it with your fingers. But so there's no superstitions here at the work. Their superstitions more surround, like I'll go into these construction sites and I'll talk to them because I also mostly do solar panels and things of that nature, but I do some construction too. And I'll say, what stories do you have from here? And they were like, oh yeah, there's this, there's a
Oh, I think I lost you there for a few seconds. Could you repeat your question?
Yeah, I'm back again. If I ever get bumped off here, we're going to close. Oh, it's frustrating. I got to get to a new place.
Oh, no, now I can hear. Now you're back. I think now you're back.
Oh, there you are. Now you're back. Okay. It's very low signal at the moment. It's showing me at the top that I have low signal. Before this thing completely bumps us off here, dude, first of all, thank you so much for coming on. Next time, I promise I'm going to get a new computer. I'm waiting for you guys. You too. I'm still waiting for the code that they give you. There's no physical boxes here. So I hope I get it. If not, I have to use somebody else's address so that it'll go there and I can pick it up and put the code in. And then I can actually take and upgrade all my equipment and get myself a better place. One more time, dude, like I was saying, thank you so much for coming on. You've been very gracious. I've been trying to get you on for quite a while. Please plug everything. That way people can find you.
Yeah, thank you so much, man. Yeah, like I said, people can find me on YouTube, Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Podcast, Deezer. I don't know, on basically every platform. If they are looking for Flying Chariots: The Rise, they can contact me on my Facebook account, Daniel Bechmann. You can put it in the description if you want to. Yeah, you can send me an email. We can put that also in the description. And yeah, if somebody out there of your fans are able to understand or speak German, you can also take a look at my German podcast. It's called Sagenhaft und Sonderbar, and we have almost I don't know 800 episodes now out there. With some of them are very interesting, some of them in English too. Yeah,
Wow.
we have a lot, man. And yeah, thank you.
I'm in my mid-30s. I'm like episode 35, 6, something like that. This is it's a long process. People don't understand how much work it is. It's a very long process. And then you have like technical errors like I'm having today, like I had on my last live. People don't realize that they start YouTube and they think, oh yeah, it's just an easy. It's not. It's a full-time job. It's like you're working 2 jobs.
Yes,
well, we do 3.
Definitely. It is very stressful sometimes, because you and I, we are both having a day job and doing this after our day job, and it's very hard sometimes. I have 3 podcasts. I have another German podcast which I'm part of, and the thing is that all in all, I think I've recorded 1,600 podcast episodes in these 5 years now, and it was very stressful, but it's worth it, because the reactions that we get from people are priceless, man. And I love what I do. Yeah.
I love my favorite part is the conversation. My favorite part is the connection with somebody, and sit down with them, talk to them, because a lot of people are afraid to even come forward, like we were talking about, and just be able to like give them the opportunity and don't feel like they're being judged by somebody. That's so important that people don't realize that, like I've seen this, I've heard this, and I don't know how to feel about it. And you're like, okay, you want to talk about it? And then, I always offer people too. It's like, hey, look, we can just, give you an avatar. We can give you a different name, and we'll stick to that name. And you just tell me your story, and it'll just be my big dumb face on the on the program. But that connection with people is my favorite part of it, to be honest with you.
It is, yeah. I've talked to so many interesting people, and it's a bummer that one of these guys I've talked to, I think he doesn't speak English, because it would be very interesting for you. He has a museum for superstition here in Germany. Yeah, and that's very awesome.
Like, that's also such a cultural thing that Germans just don't play that. Germans do not play that. They're like, no. Magie, kann nicht sein, Alter. Es gibt sowas nicht. This is altes Zeug. This is and it's like, I don't know about that, dude. I don't know about that. The people that I run into are very sincere.
And it was superstition here in Germany sometimes was very brutal. I know you want to end the episode, but man, I think I told you about the building sacrifice before. Do you remember?
The building sacrifice, no.
So since you and I, we are working at a construction, there was this, in various cultures around the world, not only in Germany, it was customary to immure living victims within structures. Maybe bridges, churches. So they were walled in, so to speak. They walled in cats and dogs as a building sacrifice, and also humans. Yeah. Before we go, I can tell you an interesting story about a very old report. I think there's only one report written down where a human was walled in. Everything else is just mouth to mouth. So there was the sacrifice on the bridge over Saale. Saale is a river here in Germany, and this happened around 1610. or 1608, something like that. A stone bridge was being built over the Saale River. And to ensure the bridge's stability, a building sacrifice was conducted. A child was walled in, sealed within the bridge. It is said that the child was being walled in, and it cried out, "Mom, I can still see you." And then they put in the last brick, and it said, "Mom, I can't see you anymore." So it was very heartbreaking. And these builders bought the kit from a woman who maybe never had money in her life before and never had money after that. So it was a very poor woman,
Wow.
and they bought her child. And the mother was given an honorary place during the walling in of her own child. Yeah, and that
Oh
highlights
my God! So she witnessed it.
she was she was a special guest, so to speak, because she gave her child for a few
Zeuge.
thaler, yeah, for a few bucks, a few thaler. It was called thaler back then, and she witnessed how her child was walled in the
Yeah.
bridge.
Tala.
So
Okay.
yeah, and there's another story from Greece, but it's mouth to mouth. There was this bridge called Arta Bridge, and they said that the bridge kept collapsing every time they built it again, and it collapsed and it collapsed and it collapsed. And the master builder, he was forced to wall in his own wife alive into the bridge in order to stabilize that whole thing. And after that, it never collapsed again.
That's a very similar story here. They were trying to build a highway from Cancun to Tulum, which is like an hour south, and they kept on this one pylon. It kept collapsing, breaking. Equipment would break, and they built like a shrine to these Alushas because they were saying, "Hey, build the shrine." They were talking to the local people. They built the shrine. Everything's fine. After 2 years, they took the shrine back down. Bridge messed up again. Put it back up. Now, we do a lot of weird things. We are an interesting species, dude. It's part of it too. What we talk about is not only the stories, and we are an interesting species. Our nature is such a wild thing. It's hard to even describe why people do certain things, why people see certain things. What's the psychology behind it? The psychiatry behind it? I don't know, man. It's such a wild thing, and this whole new internet thing, it's for us new because you remember a time that didn't exist. It's kind of putting all that forward, and people are like just kind of like, I don't know about this too. So it's just incredible, dude. Who knows?
Yeah. The world is a very mysterious place.
I think we did it, dude.
Yeah.
So I think we did it, dude. We had to battle a lot of stuff today. You were saying my echo was on the other end, and I've had 2 podcasts like that, and they were just awful. I tried to fix them audibly, and nothing would happen. I still put them up, though. Which might have been a mistake, but it is what it is. Thanks so much for coming on, buddy.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Do me a favor, stay in the green room. I just want to check the recordings, okay? And if it doesn't work out, I'll send you a link, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right. So that was Daniel Bechmann from the country of Germany talking about his podcast and his ideas surrounding maybe a collective consciousness in which these UFO sightings then have a connection. Very interesting concept, a very interesting podcast and podcaster. Please do me a favor, go over to his channel. Let me make sure I get it right one more time. It's hard to remember. It's Flying Chariots The Rise. Go over and give him a like. Go ahead and subscribe to his channel and do me a favor. And go send him your stories. Maybe he'll have you on. You know, he's a cool guy. If you keep finding yourself coming back to the podcast, the Jupiter, please do me a favor, like and subscribe. And like I always say, remember, we are the eye. We are aware.